is the sweetest name I know. He's always just the same. Oh, praise his holy name. That is the reason why I love him so much. Jesus is the sweetest name I know. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back to watch what we've got to say today. I'm excited about today's video because it's my first collaboration on YouTube, and I'm collaborating with Zoba's World. Her channel name will be up here or somewhere down in the description, and it's Zoba's World. So we are collaborating, and I want you to please do me a huge favor. Once you're done watching this one, head to her channel and see what she's got to say about raising up children in diaspora. We are doing it because she's raising up her own children now. They are quite young. Mine were raised up in the 80s and 90s in UK here, but in Scotland, that's where we started. So the experiences, we are going to share our experiences. So I want to start by saying when we came over to Scotland in the 80s, in the mid 80s, it was quite an eye-opener, coming to a strange place that you're not familiar with, what the culture, how they do things. There were many things to learn, and then bringing up the children, the way we are brought up back home, we try to instill some of those qualities in them, and yeah, it worked quite okay, really, because our children, when they hear other children who were obviously from here talking to their parents, they are like, oh my God, look at how that person is talking to their mom or dad, because they weren't raised up like that. So they knew what it means to respect their parents and not to answer back to some extent. So we didn't have that issue. I wouldn't say the same now. People who are raising up their children now, do they talk back to you? Do they? In those days, they were quite, it was easier to bring them up because there was still some discipline. Even in schools, there was still some discipline, and at home to some extent. So we didn't have much of an issue raising them up. So the behavior-wise, it wasn't a big deal at all. I mean, obviously, children will be children, but when you correct them, they understand and they know that there are certain ways, that certain things you do and certain things that you don't do. So in those days, it was much easier. And when they are asked to do something, obviously, children will be children. They will ask you why, but when you try and explain to them, they will understand. Coming to do a house chores like housework and helping out in the house, cleaning or washing their plates, they, if you leave them, obviously they won't do that. But I remember one thing when our boys were growing up. When they finish eating, they know that they have to wash their plates, because you always say to them, oh, go and wash your plates. And they will go and they will wash their plates, and if they use a spoon or fork or whatever, they will leave them in the sink there and just wash their plates. And you wonder, why did you not wash your, but you told me to go and wash my plates, Mom. So they just leave the spoons and forks. And I actually spoke to some of my friends then, and they said, you know what, our own children does exactly the same thing. They wash their plates and they leave the fork and knife or whatever that they've used, because you've always said, go and wash your plates. So they will leave the other things and just wash the plates. So you have to teach them that, yes, wash your plates, but you have to also wash the cutlery that you used to eat. Another thing, we used to have it was quite good those days bringing them up, because we used to have a free milk. Early in the morning, by the time you wake up, you get fresh milk dropped on your door. And it doesn't matter your level of income or whatever at the time. It was just something that was done for people with children. I'm talking about the 80s now, so I don't know. Obviously, things have changed a lot. And we weren't used to drinking fresh milk, even our son, because we had only one son at the time. He wasn't used to drinking fresh milk, but we just have to start learning these things. And then we got used to it. So it was quite a big luxury that you just get the milk without asking for it or paying for it. It's just on your door there. And you will also get a child benefit. When you have children, they pay child benefit. I'm not sure whether they do this in Europe or whether they still do this in UK. I don't know, because as I say, our own children are grown up. So we get this money, your first child gets more than the rest, and every month is paid. It's mainly paid to the mothers. So I used to collect it, and then you can just use it to buy things for the children. So these were the things that I got. I'm like, wow, it was a big surprise to me that you'll be getting something like this. And when another thing, raising up children here, when they want something, they want it. They just want something, and they don't understand that you don't have it, or you don't have the money now. When they want it, they want it. But in those days, again, when you explain to them, they understand, but maybe, and they'll ask you, when will you get this, when will I get this, and then God help you if you promise them any particular date, because when that time comes, you have to fulfill that promise. But when it comes to really behavior and bring behavior, we didn't really have a lot of challenges in that fashion when they were much younger. They really followed the rule of the family and did things that they should do. And for us, they didn't have any discrimination as well. Bringing them up, children in those days, they will come to the door, to our doors, and they will knock on the door to ask if they will come out to play with them. These are obviously children, British children or Scottish children. They didn't discriminate. They don't even know the difference between themselves and the children. The adults may be the problem, but not the children. And in schools as well, I remember in those days, our children were like, when you come to see the picture, the photo, school photo, they will be the odd ones out, because there's not a lot of black people in Scotland, in Edinburgh to be precise, at that time. So it wasn't, even though they were just more or less them, only themselves in that school or in the class, they didn't feel out of place at all, because the children made them not to feel that they were different, and they always played with them, and things were just going as normal as possible. So we didn't have that kind of challenge. And then we are able to, at the time, you can easily actually let your children out to play with other children, knowing that they are safe. All this issue of, oh, we have to always go out with them, although my children listening to this now will say, Mom, no, you don't let us, you always want to go with us, or make sure that this and that. Yeah, obviously, to some extent, I was like that. I'll make sure of where they are, that I'll be seeing them from where I am, because they were quite young. But this idea of, oh, something will happen to the children, or they will get out there and they will get missing or anything like that, there was no, that fear wasn't there at the time. Things were sort of as normal as it can be. Compared to now, some of the things you hear now and you think, oh my God. And another thing, when our children now, obviously they're all grown men, when they see or hear some of the news or some things that are happening, the way they will be so shocked. How can a child be doing this? How can a child be doing that? Sometimes when they talk, especially my last son, he will say, I'm now sounding like an old man. He's only in his 20s, but some of the things that happens now, or the way kids behave now, he will turn around and say to me, Mom, if it was when we are growing up, you wouldn't allow this, would you? I said, of course not. But now, there are certain things that parents allows because of the society. There was none of these gadgets like mobile phone, this, or you name it. They've all got it now. Even primary school children have got all these gadgets, and they speak to the gadgets more than they speak to their parents. In those days, there was no phone. No mobile phone, not for the adults, never mind the children. So all they know is they come back from school, they will do their homework. Our children growing up did not have television in their rooms. That was how we brought them up, and they got used to it. They never really demanded, because they know that some of their friends obviously have the television in their rooms, but we did not bring them up with television in their rooms. And that was the rule in the house, and it wasn't an issue for them at all. I think the thing is, once you start bringing up children, whatever you discipline or things you want to implant into them, start from the beginning. And once they get used to it, it will be a norm for them. And when they go out there, they will not feel that left out. because they haven't got this or haven't got that, because that's the way you bring them up. And if they request something that you think they don't really need, you don't have to join the crowd. You don't want to say, oh, because so and so has to say I have to provide it for them. No, if you can't afford it, or you, even if you can afford it but you think that they don't need it, you don't have to provide it, because once you start, it's difficult to stop. So you have to always tell your children, if you think that they don't need something that they are requesting at the time, don't provide it, because once you do and then you stop, then it becomes a problem. So in those days, there are many things they would have wanted which we felt that they didn't need, and we will explain to them why we think that they don't need this. Not at this time anyway, maybe at the right time you will get it, and they'll understand. But once you start from early age to allow them to do what they like, and once they request for something, or even before they ask for it, they've got it, then it becomes their right. They think that anytime anything they want, they will get. So we should not bring up our children. I'm just talking to parents bringing up children now. This is year of gadgets, internet, mobile phone, all this. We are fortunate enough not to have these distractions when we are bringing ours up. But now it's all over the place that sometimes children cannot even communicate with their siblings anymore. I remember in those days, our boys, sometimes when they're together, they'll be entertaining themselves. They'll be laughing so loud. And you'll be wondering, who is there with them? And you just, four of them, enjoying themselves, talking and laughing. Either something they want to watch on telly, at the right time, because they have time that they watch television, and time that they have to do their studies, and they will just watch television at that time. I know that they've done their homework or whatever, and they sit with each other and they chat and they laugh so loud, and you wonder. But these days, I don't think it's happening now, because a lot of gadgets, people sit down, even parents, even husband and wife, sometimes they sit down, all they have is their gadget, speaking to their gadget more than their spouses or their children, and the children gets fed up, and then they get onto their own gadgets and using their mobile phone or their laptop, and that's when they start going into all sorts. So it's important that we make our time and drop the gadgets and actually have that communication with our children, and also know what they are watching, especially when they are quite young, because you have to catch them young. Once you instill that discipline and that kind of good way to behave in them when they are younger, as they grow up, they will get used to it. It will not be a big issue anymore. So it's very important. Please let us start early. I know I would say that judging from what is happening now, when I look at what is happening now, I would think that, yeah, we brought up our children in years, olden days, so to say. But what is happening now is totally different. But we just have to try. You cannot say, oh, that's how they are. Oh, children of nowadays, that's how they behave. No, we have to still tell them that, yes, so and so behaves like that. Doesn't mean that you have to behave the same way. And show them the difference between the way you are bringing them up and the way other people are bringing theirs up, and show them this is the reason why you're doing for everything you do, for everything you teach them. Give them reason why you're doing it, and not just, oh, because I say so, or because, oh no, you can't have that. But you have to explain to them why they can't have it, and if you think that they will have it in future, explain to them at this time or at this time you will have it. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. There's a lot of examples to give, but these are just the ones that came to mind. So I just want to tell you the difference between, bringing the children up in those 80s and 90s, and what it is like here. We'll now hear from head to Zoba's world to hear what it is like for her bringing up her own children now, compared to me, or us, myself and my husband, that brought up our own children in the 80s and 90s, and then into the 2000s. That's when they were quite young or growing up. So there's quite a big difference, as from what I can see, both from social media and everything. There's a lot a lot have gone on since our children were younger. So please head to Zoba's World. Don't forget to do that, because this is a collaboration, and tell her you are coming from Ifechi family. I will appreciate you doing that for me. Please head to her channel and hear what she's got to say. Thank you so much for listening as usual, and I really appreciate you. Each time I come to speak with you or share some things with you, I feel so happy, just like I'm speaking to my own family. And I really appreciate you all for watching. Thank you. And if you have not subscribed, please do so. There are many things that will be coming on this channel very, very soon. I won't tell you what it's going to be. Just watch out and you will see. Goodbye and God bless you. Bye-bye.